Hello? Hello? Allison, can you hear me?
I can. You're quiet, but that's probably on my end. Hold on. Yep. There you are.
Okay,
Welcome
can you hear me
aboard.
better now?
Yep.
Okay. So I just read that letter from the owner of the property that West Solar's on.
Yeah.
There's a thing on Facebook on the Winchendon residents page inviting residents who are interested to come to this meeting, so it may be well attended.
Yes.
He gave out the Zoom information and everything.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that too. Whoops. There are a couple other ones that are a little. There are a couple of them that have had heated calls to me from various abutters and such. So.
I spoke with Lionel today. I guess we'll bring that up tonight.
Yep. Yep. He has he left me a message that he has a computer. He's going to try to join in. He's still very interested in being on the commission. So
He called me and said he won't be able to join in tonight, but he's going to be watching it on TV.
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have Zoom figured out yet, but I told him I'd work with him on that.
Absolutely.
Come over and we'll sit laptop to laptop and
Exactly.
go over it.
Yeah, that's the one piece that's harder via Zoom when we're not all together or able to be together, even if it's not all in person.
Who do we have here for the commission? Do we have David?
Not yet.
No Melissa, no Ken?
Nope.
All right.
We're getting there.
Can you hear me? I'm here.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Is that Melissa?
Yes.
It sounded like it. Oh, Mrs. Blanchard.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was.
I was looking for the name Melissa. I didn't notice.
I know.
Sorry.
I was thinking that here I'm on the select board in Groton that I might give everybody like a red background so that I can tell which ones are board members pretty quickly. It gets difficult with lots of little faces.
So let me ask you this, Allison. I was online looking today at applying for an NOI, what it entails, and
Yep.
And it was listed by town: Gardner, Belchertown, blah blah blah. Is it pretty much the same, or do they all have different regulations? Is it guided by any standard statute or anything?
Yeah, so the state piece is generally the same. It is the same. Each town or community can have a local bylaw that's in addition to whatever the state requirements are. We have one that doesn't add a heck of a lot, but the basic state process for the notice of intent is the same everywhere.
Okay. So that's the notice of intents are the same, right?
Yes.
It's like a
The
standard form?
Yeah. Yep.
Welcome, Mark. Welcome, James. Welcome, Ken.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, David's here. So we're all here. So I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Yep. There we
Call
go.
meeting to order of Winchendon Conservation Commission, January 14, 2021 at 6:01 p.m. First order of business is announcements.
Yep.
Lionel Cloutier, as he's a former board member, has indicated his interest in getting back on the board. And so he called me today and told me that he has bought a computer in order to Zoom. So this seems to be what we're doing now for the foreseeable future. But he can't get on tonight, so he's going to be watching us on TV, but he is paying attention and very much interested in rejoining the commission.
Great.
Any comments from the board? Melissa?
I'm fine with that.
Ken?
Sounds good to me.
David?
You're muted, David.
Has this been before the Board of Selectmen yet?
It has not. They kicked it to us first, looking for you guys to make a recommendation, which, you guys can either make a formal motion and vote, or if the consensus is there, then I'll just draft a letter that the consensus was the board supports his membership. And
I'd like to entertain a motion to make it formal.
yep,
If anyone has a motion to appoint Lionel Cloutier to the Conservation Commission. He is a former member who served several years and is very knowledgeable and active in these matters.
Motion to approve Lionel.
Do I have a second?
A second?
All in favor, Melissa?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. So we'll send that to the select board with our recommendation to reappoint him.
perfect. Thank you. That will bring us up to a full board, so that would be exciting.
Okay, submission of National Grid annual vegetation management activities. Can you
Yep.
speak to that, Allison, please?
Yep, so that is the typical annual notification that the board, it comes technically to the Board of Selectmen, that comes through as information about where they're going to do vegetation management and what approach they're going to be using. Let me scroll. Eventually I'll get there. You can see here kind of this orange is where they're anticipating doing the work. So there's nothing new or different about this. It's not really something, they're not looking for permission. It's just a notification. So it's more of just an FYI, but if anyone has questions, I'm happy to look into it and figure things out.
If you have any questions from the board, you can go ahead and speak out of turn.
I'm all set.
Yeah, no questions on my end.
Yeah, I was just concerned with the herbicide and all those private wells that's right in its path.
Allison, do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about that. I assume that the herbicides they use are approved as much as one can be for areas there. I can look into it, Melissa, and get back to you guys and report back to the board.
Yeah, this is annual maintenance that they've been doing, so
Yeah,
pretty sure they've got it figured out.
yeah, I mean, and again, it's not a permission thing, so, there's a finite control we would have anyway. But I can look into that.
Okay, 6:05, we have a notice of intent hearing.
Can we just do, there were 2 sets of minutes, I think, in the packet?
There,
I don't know if there were questions or concerns on those.
those, yep. They came right after the agenda.
Yeah,
So I'd like a motion to, can you scroll up to the minutes for the dates,
yep,
please?
the first set is December 10th. And that was the meeting where technology outwitted us. So we just continued everything to the following week. So those minutes were pretty straightforward.
Can we have a motion to approve these minutes as written?
So moved.
Second,
Second. Yeah, I'll second that.
all in favor, Melissa?
Yes?
Ken?
Yes.
David? Chair votes aye, we approve those minutes. I'm just gonna call you in order that you're on my screen, so it's a little different order this week.
Yeah. And then the next set is from the 17th, December 17th.
Yeah, I did read over those, and I had no problem with them. Someone want to make a motion to approve them?
I'll make the motion. I also read them over. They're good.
Yeah. Second. I read them too.
All in favor, Melissa?
Yes?
Ken?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Okay, so now we'll move on to the notice of intent hearing by Scott, is it Crichton?
Yes, I believe so.
I have it. Want me to read it?
Please, David.
Okay, pursuant to provisions of National Law 131, Section 4, the Town of Winchendon Wetlands Bylaw, the Winchendon Conservation Commission will hold public hearing on Thursday, January 14, 2025 p.m. There are no filed by Scott Pritchard for proposed work within the 100-foot buffer zone of water and vegetated wetland at 206 5. This is map 10, lot 24. The proposed work includes removal of 5 pine trees within 100 feet of the, held remotely via Zoom, or if safe to do so, out the second floor auditorium in Town Hall, Winchendon. Additional information is available by emailing Allison at the Town Hall.
Okay, Allison,
Yep,
you want
so
to brief us on this?
this is a fairly straightforward one. I'm not sure There are so many people here, I'm not sure if there's someone here to speak to this one. He is looking for permission to take down a handful of 5 trees that are within 100 feet of the lake. As you can kind of see from this, unfortunately, sideways piece. The nearest one is about 65 feet from the lake, and there are a few that are out toward the roadway. They're healthy, but it's also his entire parcel is within 100 feet of the lake. So,
What's his reason for wanting to take them down?
well, first, is there anyone here to speak to this one? I believe one person is still joining via audio. I believe they're kind of just a nuisance, and then they tend to drop branches.
If they drop branches, we generally entertain it, but if they're healthy, like you said, and they're not dropping
Yeah.
branches.
Let me see if, yeah, I think it's Scott who's trying to join via audio. So, Scott, we do see you, and we will wait for you to. He's working on it. Scott, you may need to leave and then rejoin, so that's a little glitchy.
Allison, this is the first time it's been your name on the screen and not Don O'Neill.
I know, I'm working on it. I kind of like having it be his name, and then everybody can blame him if there are issues, but
There we go, you got it straightened out. That was quite the engineered drawing.
exactly. All right, so I'm going to unmute you, Scott, if I can, or you may need to do it from your end. Can you unmute yourself, Scott?
Bottom left.
Yeah, okay,
There you go.
all right,
All righty. So welcome aboard.
thank you.
I think, can you just kind of give an overview for the board of where the trees are, what the concerns are with them?
Okay, the overview is they're up by my driveway, one's just a little bit further towards the water. Hey, right there, yeah. And then that one's about 65 feet off the water. And then the rest go towards the road further, right beside my driveway. Hey.
What's your reason for wanting to take them down?
Oh, the tree branches, someone fell on my truck a couple times, and then, the pine pitch, the sap, it's like ruining my vehicles.
So these are conifers?
Yeah, they're just all regular, the pine. The sap is really bleeding off of them real bad, so it's just covering my truck. I can't, in my car, I got two $60,000 vehicles there that it just keeps covering them, and it's ruining my paint on my truck.
Right. Any comments from the board, Melissa?
They're beyond the 50 feet, so it should be okay.
Correct. I would say so, because they are causing damage to his property. Ken?
Yeah, no, I don't have any issues. After the windstorms we had this past fall, I can totally relate to tree branches, so I'm good with this.
Right.
Yeah, and I got a couple that I had that was broke off. There's another tree that was down by the water. I'm not taking it down. I'm just cutting a couple branches off of it because the windstorm broke a couple, and there's one more dead branch I got to take off.
It's down by the water and it's in the buffer zone. We need to know about that as well.
Even if I'm not taking it down?
Yes, you're doing the work in the buffer zone.
Okay. All right, well, one of the branches were broken. I just cut it. I cut it because it was already broken. It was hanging. All right.
Okay. So just know that anything you do in the buffer zone with regard to plant life
Yep,
It's gonna
okay,
need to come before the Conservation Commission and make us aware of it.
okay.
It's just a deal with living on a lake
Okay, yep, no, it's no problems, that's no
or near wetlands.
Yep,
Okay, David,
yep.
do you have anything to say?
Yeah, no, I'm okay with it. It's outside of the 50, so I'm pretty much, as long as they're outside of the 50, I'm pretty much okay with them.
Yeah, it's way out of the 50.
And even the pruning inside the 50, I mean, if it's just pruning and especially if it's storm damage, it really should be taken care of.
Yeah, I got one that was broken, and there's another part on the tree that's still dead that comes up in the middle of it, so it's gotta come out or it's gonna fall down anyways. Hey, and that's all I'll be taking off of that tree.
Okay, so if anybody calls us about that, we're aware of it.
Okay?
Neighbors, that's usually what happens, is your neighbors are gonna call on you if you're doing
Yeah,
any
I
work on the
know,
lake.
I know.
So, can we have a motion to approve this project with the standard order of conditions?
Yeah, motion to approve with standard order of conditions.
That means probably, erosion control, sir,
Yep,
while you're working?
so,
No heavy equipment?
no, it's just, anything that's gonna be done, it's gonna be just cutting the trees down and then, if the stumps come out, if I take the stumps out, it probably won't be till spring.
That's one thing we'd like to know is whether you're gonna grind the stumps or keep the stumps.
Well, I wanted to take them out if I could, but if I can't, I'll probably grind them. But I like to take the ones that are close to my driveway out.
Okay, so once you cut these trees, unless we put it in the order of conditions, you're gonna need to let us know what you're gonna do with the stumps in the spring. You can't just start working again.
Okay, so
It's gonna be two separate projects evidently, unless we
So
put
I
it in
won't
the
be
same
able-
one.
I can't just do it now and have them removed.
Yeah, you can do it now. We could put it all in one project, but if you're
Yeah,
gonna
if
do
you
work now and then do work again in the spring,
Oh, okay,
you
can
can't
you
just start working again.
put it all in one project so I can
Yeah.
have it done?
Okay, we can do that.
Hey, there's probably one stump that I probably won't take out, that one that's closest, but the ones that are right beside my driveway is the ones I want to get out.
We'd generally like to know if you're gonna grind them and bring equipment in, or how you're gonna take care of them.
Those four there, I want to probably just have a tractor come in and just pop them out.
Okay, so we're gonna need erosion controls and,
So if I can just do that, and I can, what are you gonna just put hay bale barriers and stuff?
yeah, that'll be in your order of conditions.
Yeah.
Allison will make that very clear to you.
Yeah, I already know I know all about it.
Okay, good.
Hey.
So the motion was made by Ken.
Yep.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor, Melissa? I'm sorry, David, you have something to say?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
Okay, Melissa?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
David?
yes.
Chair votes aye. Okay, sir, Allison will get your order of conditions. Once we get the signatures, you can begin work.
Okay, so how long will that be?
Oh, it varies.
Yeah, but they'll notify me.
No, I'll get my signature in this week. Allison will send me as soon as Allison gets me the packets, I'll get better at getting them in.
Right, and then Allison, you'll send me a notice saying that it's ready.
Yep, I will reach out to you, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, have a good night.
Okay, you guys too. Thank you.
Okay. With two agenda items at 6:05.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead with the amended order of conditions hearing for Eco Solar.
Yep, so this is a continuation. You guys had discussed this in a preliminary nature, kind of a month or two ago. This is the need to fence in the project, more completely than was initially proposed at the recommendation of the environmental and the town police.
This is one the police chief heartily endorsed.
Yep,
Okay.
I think there's multiple screens of people. Yes, Rodney's here to speak to that or to answer any questions that you guys may have.
I believe we were all good with that, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean,
needed a better
I did
drawing.
send in the letter, which was the formal request for the amendment. And, if you have any questions, this is not something that we were looking forward to do on this. It's, liability for everybody involved. I think this is necessary to protect our property and the property of the surrounding property owners as well.
Right, being this is a high voltage site, it's good to keep everyone out.
Right.
And we'll stop the ATV traffic in that area anyway.
Yes. we've already done some work out there. We did put a crash gate out front. We've already received a couple of bids for the fence itself. So as soon as this is approved, we will look to stake out the fence line and get going on this installation.
Allison, I don't have my notes. Did we have any concerns with this project, or were we? I think we
I
were
don't
pretty good
believe
with it.
so. I think it was pretty much all set. It was just a question of timing and getting the official paperwork in.
I think we all took the police chief's recommendation to heart and agreed with it. So what are we looking for? An approval for the order of condition? I mean, the amended order of conditions?
Yep. With
Any
any,
comments from the board? Melissa?
I have no problems with this. I know we discussed it last meeting.
Ken?
I feel the same way.
David?
Yes, I'm okay with it.
Can we have a motion to approve the amended order of conditions as written?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second?
All in favor? Melissa?
Yes?
Ken?
Yes?
David?
Yeah.
Chair votes aye.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll write that one up, Rodney. Same thing, get the signatures, and then I'll reach out.
Excellent. Thank you, Allison.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Commission. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Do.
Okay, next on the agenda is the amended order of conditions for West Solar One, or West Street One Solar LLC. On West Street, Assessors Map 2, Parcel 109.
Yep.
Requested permanently leave boulders covering sections of buffer. I'll start out by saying I don't agree with this. I don't think that the applicant has the right to dump boulders on the owner's property in the buffer zone, as was stated in the letter. Allison, do you have any information on this?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of starting at a high level, it's a solar project that has largely been completed. Looking to see if there's a plan in here. And they had the standard conditions that, 4 inches of topsoil, and they would plant in the buffer zone. They, in the process of construction, I believe, found a lot more rock and ledge than they had anticipated. And I don't know what the decision or discussions were at the time. Ultimately, they have placed all those boulders in the area that you see here in the red kind of hatch marks. I apologize. All around, it pretty much looks like the picture did of the.
Just try the 35 pounds of boulders when the order of conditions clearly stated preliminary seed with plant life.
Yeah, I mean, what's here is clearly a departure from that order, obviously, and there are folks here to speak to this. Their engineer issued the opinion in the email that this was not a significant impact to, the wetland or the species in the area.
Absolutely disrupts the species and the species' ability to travel and move.
At this point, I, have the same concerns. I reached out to our typical peer reviewer who's going to put together a quote to take a look at this and opine on things. This to me is a pretty big departure, but I think it's worth, asking the folks who are here if they can kind of walk through the thinking and the project and how we got to where we are. And then I know there are at least one butter who wants to speak as well.
Who's here to speak on this? I know Sarah's probably here. Sarah, we'll let you go last after the engineer speaks.
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll through. It looks like Mark Dorwart would like to speak.
I believe that's me. I'm Nick Santangelo. I'm with Beals and Thomas, representing the applicant on this one.
Okay.
I'll just go back a little bit. For starters, this request for amended order of conditions isn't to perform new work. This is just kind of to bring the project back into compliance with the original order. During construction phase, we encountered a lot more rocks than originally anticipated. And in certain instances had to be creative with where to put them. During construction, I was made aware that the fire conservation agent had been discussing with the site work contractor at the time about the placement of boulders, and I guess they had come to some sort of an agreement on them. But needless to say also that the boulders aren't stacked 30 feet high. The entire area actually has a pretty rocky and mountainous topography. The boulders themselves are only stacked one high, like one off the ground. So while you may see other photos other than the one that is represented in this exhibit that appear to be higher, it's mostly due to the topography beneath them that is causing such creation. And further, the removal of the rocks themselves would create more harm than good. You know, as currently laid out, they are laid out outside of the 50-foot no disturb buffer. And that's kind of what we have for now.
This is on the owner's property, she claims, and I don't believe you have the right whatsoever to dump boulders on her property in a buffer zone.
So from the exhibit, the lease area is actually outlined as a more, is another black line on this, but you'll actually see that all of the red, which is the limits of the boulders within leased area. So they're not on somebody else's property, actually. That's area that our client has secured for this project.
Right. My understanding is that at one point, so when the project started, it was under one ownership. Since after this permission was granted, kind of this parcel was retained by the original owner and the surrounding area was sold. There were some boulders on the abutter, and those have been removed back onto the project site, if you will.
But you can't just change your project mid-project and do whatever you want. There was a clear order of conditions. You can't say, oh, since we found more boulders, we're going to go ahead and do whatever we want with these boulders. That's not the way it works.
So my name is Kelly Pike. I'm the Nexamp civil engineer working for the applicant here. And so we had lots of conversations. We had, I believe you had a third-party inspector out on the site during the project. I believe his name was Matt Morrow, and he was on the site the whole time that we were constructing out there. And we had several conversations with the previous conversation with the conservation agent about the placement of these boulders and how it wasn't ideal. But we were talking with that conservation agent, and we were not proceeding without the sort of direction from him and the allowance of this happening. So that was how we proceeded during construction. And that was part of the process as we constructed. So we have not placed any boulder. There were some boulders on the property land back in 2019, I believe. We did go through the efforts. That issue was raised and we acknowledged it, and we removed some of those boulders and the stumps. We brought them back into the site, sort of to the south there inside of our fence, just to eliminate any safety concerns and help get rid of those. So we're trying to work with the town and the abutter on that. As far as the placement of the boulders were concerned, though, we were talking with the Conservation Commission the whole time.
This is all, I've been on the Conservation Commission here in Lynchton for 15 years, and that's basically what you're saying is hearsay. I don't have an official record of that. You haven't presented an official record of it or an order that states you can place the boulders there. So I've never seen a project like this where you just change midstream and say, well, we encountered unexpected things, so we just went ahead and did what we wanted to do. So I'll entertain comments from the board. David?
Yeah. So I have a couple concerns, and one of them is it shows on the map with the red out highlighting of the rocks, and on the right-hand side, there's a little L out with like you approached on that property owner's land. That's one of my concerns. I was out there today and I walked the entire site. There are a tremendous amount of rock. I know New England has rock, but holy crap. So I kind of agree with removal might be the bad thing to do, but I would like to see like a third consultant or something like that. Perhaps it can be covered with wood chips or mulch or something like that to help it regrowth instead of, That's just my suggestion. I know they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and I certainly have issue with that, but you need to really see the volume of rock to really truly understand what they went through, what they have out there. So, and to as far as piles 30 feet high, there really aren't. There's an embankment that they put like riprap. Think of riprap, that a 300-pound riprap rock down the embankment. So it looks like it's 30 feet high, but it is what the engineer said. It's only one rock deep. Like I said, I walked the entire place. And if there is encroachment on the property owners, as she alleges, then we need something official and that small, and it's not a very big section, but that needs to, pulled back and cleaned out. So.
For nothing, but I have a silly question. Don't people look to buy this type of boulder for landscaping?
Right. It would, like somebody
Could this
like
be sold?
buy it and crush it. You're right, exactly. Graves, sandpit, and there's a lot of it.
Okay.
So-
Ken, do you have any comments or questions?
No, I like the way Dave kind of summed it up. I haven't been out there, but the concerns would be that any wildlife that is not very big is going to have a difficult time traversing the boulders.
If you're a turtle, you're not getting through that.
Yeah, if you're a turtle, you're not getting through that, but then, there is a fence right on the side of it. So, I guess my question would be, I haven't been around for the history of this, so I don't know what's happened, and there's no documentation, as you've said. So is there a way to essentially cover the boulders and plant vegetation, as Dave suggested? I think
Rebury them?
Yeah, that might be a reasonable compromise here.
Kyle, if I could comment again.
Go ahead, David.
This did come for us back when Dave Kuntz was the agent, and there was a big issue about debris on the complaining party's property, and that all has been removed, other than that one little corner. And it didn't look too bad. But I would urge any of the other agents to take a walk around it to truly understand it. Now, I went around, like I said, I went around it today, and there's fresh snow, and there's fresh animal tracks everywhere. So it's not really inhibiting animals passing, coming and going or anything like that. I saw a lot of different signs. So,
we just keep throwing the word around precedent, and I just think if we allow them to just do whatever they want midstream, it's going to be a bad sign to other people who run into problems and don't think they need to come before us and
can
be
it be
applied.
moved, I guess is what I'm asking.
Is that?
Can it be fixed instead of removed? I'm not saying give them a pass. I'm saying something needs to be done, but removal is quite a monumental task. So.
All for making it a berm, because a berm would be traversable by wildlife, a grassy berm.
Yeah.
If you could
Yeah,
dump some truckloads of dirt on there.
I think removing the rocks would cause more damage than it would fix, but
Well, we
covering,
put the rocks in. What damage did that cause? I mean, they weren't about the damage when they drove trucks in there to dump them.
yeah.
It's like, well, we drove trucks in here. We drove trucks in here to dump them, but we don't want to drive trucks in there to take them out. I don't know. I'm torn. Go ahead, David.
I suggest that you walk it. I really do.
Okay.
Better understanding of it.
I'll do that on Sunday.
Yeah, I plan on going up over the weekend myself. I went to Google Sites and I Googled it through the Google Maps, and I was devastated when I saw it. You can see it from miles away from the sky, just the wall of rocks. I would suggest somebody Google the address and look at it from aerial view. It's devastating.
It's like they've created a new natural feature.
We do have several more photographs that were submitted along with the email from the abutter, so I don't know whether you want to look at those or kind of have her give a summary or...
I saw the photographs. I didn't print them out, so I don't have them in front of me, but I looked at them. Yeah, there's one with the tracks in between the two piles.
Yeah.
That first one, that is when they had to correct all the boulders they dumped in the wetlands replication area. So those were removed and put in, and as an example of how they resolved the boulder issue in the wetlands replication area. I don't know if they've done everything else they're supposed to, but the boulders are out of there now. So that first photo is just an example of that. The second photos are on my property.
There's another issue that Sarah mentioned they did not do the wetlands replication area that was in the order of conditions. Is that true? Sarah, is that what you're saying?
No, there had been a meeting in 2019, and I believe one of the issues on the agenda, because part of the wetlands application, one of the areas is on my property as well. Again, you can see by the level of boulders. When I came, there's more than one issue when I came. So what got addressed was the one small area, one of the areas on my property where boulders had been dumped, and also the wetlands, one of the wetlands replication areas. Move the boulders from there. And they did. So I included that first photo. They could do it. They pulled it, they put it inside the fence in the solar, inside the fence where the solar field is. They were able to move them. These are massive walls of boulders, and I think my point is they put the boulder there. They come to you while the project was going on and said, geez, guys, there's an awful lot of
Hard to remove excavated soil day to day, but it doesn't say anything about rocks day to day. It says useless excavated soil must be removed from the wonderful buffer zone day to day. It says soil. It clearly says soil.
Just a heads up, the rocks of this nature are typically included in the definition of construction debris. Just, for a little clarification, I think Sarah used that phrase more so.
Yeah.
So then that makes it clear that they dump construction debris all in the buffer.
I copied it that way, but it says not buried in the 100-foot buffer zone. So I just don't see how anything can grow on a boulder pile. I just, there's nothing that can grow there. If they put
The only way it could grow is if they loomed it over with truckloads and truckloads and truckloads of dirt. Made it a berm.
The original order also says they're supposed to put 4 inches of loam and reseal buffer zone when they're done. I don't know how they could possibly do that.
Clearly a violation. Allison, I don't know what you have to say about this, but I'm going to chant that it's clearly a violation of the original order of conditions.
Yeah, I think everyone has acknowledged that it is not compliant with the original order. What they're seeking to do is to change the order basically to match the situation that's here on the ground now. Again, I had reached out to Jean over at Ty and Bond kind of for her take on this in terms of what each would be fundamental at this point, leaving this, moving this. and what other alternative may, and I haven't heard back from her yet.
Why don't we continue this to the next, it's gonna happen tomorrow anyway, so go back from Ty and Bond and see what they have to say, but it's clearly a violation of the order of conditions. Is everyone in agreement with that? Melissa?
Yes.
I'd like to wait to hear from the engineers. Ken?
Absolutely.
When you reconvene about it. And that 12 acres of land in Winchendon, at least 3 or 4, maybe 6 have been designated by the town, by Ty and Bond before, as a riparian area for the drainage of the town, that it benefits the town. And as a, you know, I don't want to damage it, but if this is waived, if this is amended, what it tells me as a riparian landowner is that in the future, I can just go ahead and do what I want and then say that a mouse lives there. Like, if I could put any debris I want anywhere and then say a mouse lives there and I want to provide the habitat. If you read their letter of what they're trying to do, their excuse is that critters can live in the rocks. And I could, you know, this is New England. Critters live everywhere, and that shouldn't be a standing excuse to violate the thing. And the fact that they violated this knowingly from the beginning, what else did they not follow on the order? Should we go through every detail of the order and find out if they followed all of the order? And to say that the stones, they didn't know there was so much stone there. I mean, my God, this is England. This is New England. We all know there's stone. It grows out of the ground. You know,
I agree with you. You make valid points, and that's kind of what I'm saying.
Everything you said, Kyle, I commend what you've said this whole meeting. I fully agree with what you've said, and I'll leave my comments for the next meeting. Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, can we walk it? No, are we allowed to walk it?
You can ask Sarah. She's right there. She's the landowner outside the fence.
Feel free to message me, Mark, and you can see pretty much it from my property. So give me a call, message me, and I'm happy to show you what I'm looking at.
Okay.
And the same for the board as well. I mean, but
I'd like to say on the precedent level, we should see this as an opportunity. Winchendon, you know, I've been part of the bylaw, the master plan meetings, and Winchendon is growing and changing, and we're kind of trying to decide what we want to become and how we want to do it. And I see this as an opportunity for this commission to say that we want it to grow in a certain way, and we want to realize that forests and the landscape and the biota and the fauna are an asset to our town, and that just because you're a company that comes in, you shouldn't be able to get waivers on everything and do everything nonchalantly and not comply.
In addition to that, Mark, these bylaws were voted in by the people at town meeting, so we need to show that we're serious about the bylaws and respecting wishes. So
yeah. I mean, you sound serious to me. That's why I'm saying this. It's like, I think this should be seen as an opportunity to define how we grow.
And that's one thing people need to understand. I've said this before. There's a lot of people moving in from cities, and people who live in cities don't mind living on top of each other. They've proven that. So they lived in cities. So if you lived here all your life in this, you know, small community, and you're jaded, you don't want to go to town meeting anymore, the city people are going to go because they're energized, and they're going to vote to eliminate property setbacks.
I'm one of them. I came from a city.
So you need to go to town meeting if you want to keep those setbacks, you know, keep it so our houses are spaced out, keep it so we have that land between us, because the city people don't care. They're gonna vote to live on top of each other, and you're not gonna have your setbacks from the street like we have now. I mean, we've already lessened it to a degree at the last town meeting, at the last bylaw change. So you got to go to town meeting and vote your conscience. You know, don't think that your vote doesn't matter. Because people will go and vote, and they may not vote the way you like it.
Well, we saw the last town meeting.
Yeah, so, all right, so I think we've said everything we need to say on this one. We're going to move on to the next. Thank you, Mark, for your input. We'll see you on February 11th, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, next we have a notice of intent hearing for Diane Coulter,
Yep.
55 Island Road.
So this is a new one. It does need to be read in.
Continuance of February 11th, 6:05 requested, so that's already continued, requested continuance.
Yep, we just need to read it and open it and then make the motion.
David,
Okay. Yeah, I have
be
it.
honest, please.
Have it, yeah. Pursuant to provisions, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Town of Winchton, by law, Winchton Conservation Commission will hold public hearing on Thursday, wait, what's today's date? I'm sorry.
14th.
January the 14th at 6:20 p.m. Filed by Diane Coulter.
Yeah.
For proposed work within the 100-foot buffer zone of border embedded vegetable wetland at 55 Road, assesses map 2, lot 8. The proposed work will include construction of a retaining wall with steps adjacent to existing garage. The hearing will be held remotely by Zoom, or if safe to do so on the floor auditorium hall. Additional information available by emailing out at the top.
So I apologize. This actually is a continuation. I forgot that this had started in December, but
Right, it's okay.
We're hearing this tonight?
that was the
Yeah.
intent. The applicant, isn't able to attend tonight, so he's requested a continuance to the February meeting.
Okay.
It would be at 6:10 at this point.
Okay.
Can I have that motion, February 11th at 6:10?
Yeah, motion for continuance, February 11th, 6:10.
And a second?
Second,
All in favor, Melissa?
yes.
David?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. 6:44, so we are on track here. Notice of intent hearing for Barkley Enterprises, Jamison Van Dyke, Gardner Road.
Okay, pursuant to provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 1, according to the Town of Winchton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Winchton Conservation Commission will hold public hearing on Thursday, January 4th, 2020 at 6:25 p.m. 2021 at 6:25 p.m. to consider filed by Van Dyke of Barkley Enterprises LLC for proposed work within 100-foot buffer zone.
We're gonna have David cut out.
Yeah, I'm not sure what all that other noise is.
I don't hear anything else. I just hear no David.
I hear it sounds like a party in there.
Like the olden days.
Okay, let me finish this. Van Dyke of Barkley Enterprises LLC for proposed work within a 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands off Gardner Road on Assessor's Map 12, Lot 8. The proposed work includes construction of an access road for forestry purposes within 100 feet of the wetland. The hearing will be held remotely via Zoom, or if it is safe to do so, in the second floor auditorium of Winchton Town Hall, 109 Front Street. Additional information is available by emailing amanugian@townofwinchton.com. Is Jamie Van Dyke or representative here tonight?
Yep. So we have a representative here. We also have at least one abutter who has requested a chance to speak.
Okay, let's go with the applicant first,
Yep.
or the representative.
Seeing what we have here in terms of a map, it's more useful than a form.
Hi, Paul Grazowitz for
Hey, Paul.
Jamison Van Dyke. I think Jamison is on the line somewhere too. Yeah. So, I don't know if there's a plan. There we
Eventually
go.
I'll get there.
I don't see Jamie in the Zoom meeting.
Okay. Yep.
Go ahead, Paul.
There's actually, if you could flip to that next plan.
You had the proposed one?
Yeah, the first plan you're seeing there is what we submitted initially with the notice of intent. And we had erosion controls, and we had fill coming in to access the site.
Right, do other folks hear a little noise, or is it just?
I don't hear any additional noise.
I do like a ton of background.
Yeah.
I've got loudspeakers on and they're picking somebody's up and amplifying it. I'm gonna turn it down a little.
Okay, thank you.
So DEP, said that, you know, because it's not residential, that,
Hey, girls, can you keep it down in there? I'm in a meeting. Girls!
There we go.
Sorry.
That's okay.
we needed to, file a stormwater report. So in doing that, you know, there's, well, all the elements, the stormwater includes, treatment, pre and post development, and all of that. We ended up putting some stormwater features in. Basically, Jamie wants to get in there and do logging, pull the stumps up, and so that he can, you know, he's thinking of maybe selling it, but, you know, you need to get in there and look at it. And it's not, you can't park out on 140. So, with that in mind, and to try and get us make DEP happy and issue a file number, we designed some stormwater management and did stormwater hydrology and everything else. So the basic elements are, we have to, you can see coming in off the highway, it drops down, so we need to do some fill and create an access drive. And then once you get into the site, you were just going to have, a loop area just for, for doing for the forester to set up and do his logging. So I've run a swale. I put erosion controls all along the site, outside the 50-foot no disturb. And I'm taking any runoff there is, and I've got this relatively flat swale that's going to have check dams, and it's going to bring water down to a little sediment forebay and detention basin in the back. Up front, where the gravel road comes in, I'm installing basically an infiltration trench. So it's going to be, I think the detail shows it 4 foot wide. It's going to have stone on the top and then sand below that. So it'll be basically a filtration bed. And that'll help filter the runoff right there. So that's it basically. And as I said in my stormwater narratives, that once somebody decides what they're going to do with this lot, whether it be Jamie or whether it be somebody he sells it to, they're going to have to go through this process over again, because obviously they're going to put something on the site. And all of this stormwater stuff I did here, maybe they can use it, but in any case, they're going to have to refile and do their own thing. So that's it in a nutshell. This by the way, this is just south of the call it Brian's Place. I'm not sure what the name. The gas station there, convenience store gas station across from Milex.
I was trying to figure out where it was. All right. Yep.
Yeah. Just it abuts that property to the south.
Okay, so I have a question. You say that if he sells it, they're going to have to revisit this project. Allison, do we have the authority to request notification if the property is sold so we can make sure that this is addressed, or do we not have that authority?
Yes, so that's one of our standard conditions, actually, that if the property is to be sold before the certificate of compliance is issued, we should get notice. But I'm sure it's something I can, track on this one, and we can call it out more clearly so that Paul and Jamie are aware.
Okay.
Yeah, he would certainly do all this work himself before it gets sold.
Okay, I'm satisfied with the detail you've gone into to do this. Any comments for the board? Melissa?
I really don't have any comments. I'd kind of like to look at, but seeing what I see here, it looks like it's pretty thought out.
Ken?
I agree with Melissa, looks good.
Yeah, we've dealt with Mr. Grassworth through the years, and it's good to see a familiar face doing work we've approved before. So, David?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
There's at least one abutter here.
Okay, who's
Nancy's
the
here.
abutter?
Nancy's here on the phone.
Okay, Nancy, you have the floor.
You're gonna need to unmute yourself, Nancy.
Bottom left on your Zoom screen, unless you're on your phone. Technology.
Exactly. I know she is on her phone. There you go.
There you are.
Okay, my concern is I was approached pretty quickly within a short period of time of all this business going on. I have been residing here for 48 years, and I'm quite appalled at the possibility of the access road going in, abutting my property, because adjoining that is what they consider wetland, and it's under the 97 Protection Act, a do not disturb area, and with a 200-foot surround on both sides. And I believe it's also considered a riverfront because the water runs underneath 140 from the culverts on both sides to what the state has put in is a sort of a cement wall holding the earth from caving in, and it's pretty rapidly running, and especially during the winter it overflows these banks. And I have the two lots, 1 and 2, so I walk my property quite often. And I saw strangers on my property, and they never identified themselves. I thought they were jacking deer, which they did last year and the year before. Not the strangers, but this man never identified himself. He blatantly told me, I'm going to put a road in here and behind your barn. And I questioned, like, what? I mean, you cannot see my barn from where my property abuts the conservation land in the back. So someone had to be on my land. And to blatantly tell me in not such a polite way, I'm going to put a road in behind also and connect to Raymond Road. Now, this upset me quite a bit, so I made many phone calls to the state, to the town, to the planning, to the conservation, to the tax, the assessor, and so forth and so on. And like I stated, I've been living here for many, many years, and this land has never been impacted by anything before. Where there is adjacent, what they call wetland, this is the water runs downhill. There's quite a good size hill that goes on my lot 2 up. And of course, if a road is approved and put in, the sill, I don't care what anyone tells you, the sill, the rocks, the trees removal is going to impact the land. It's going to actually come down and flood my land. And I'm not happy about this at all. And I don't like being intimidated that this party, Van Dyke, is going to by his own employees' admission, was going to put in rental storage units after the access road is granted. Naturally, I wasn't for this at all. And anybody buying a piece of land can do what they want as long as they don't fringe on my property and create any kind of impact on my land. And 140, as you know, it's a horrible amount of traffic during commute time. And where are these vehicles going to park, like police who have to worry about the traffic if this road is going in. Where is the equipment going to park? Where are the loggers with their personal vehicles? Naturally, I'm concerned. They're not going to go in my other lot. They're not going to park there. They can't park on the main road. It's a state highway. So I wish I had been informed in a better manner than I was with Mr. Van Dyke. I did not like me thinking they were hunters and he not introducing himself and coming on in an arrogant manner. Some people think they can bully a woman. Well, I'm here to tell you they're not.
Okay, Nancy, is it? Is this Nancy?
Yep. It is Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. First of all, we can't be concerned with you being offended. It's unfortunate that he wasn't courteous to you, but that's not our jurisdiction.
Okay.
Also not our jurisdiction is where they're going to park their vehicles, as long as they're not in our jurisdictional area. What we can do is look at what they're going to do with regard to the wetlands and how close they get to the wetlands. One thing people like this do in terms of engineers, environmental engineers, a lot of times they'll use aerial maps, which you can go online and find. So maybe they weren't on your property. Maybe they were looking at aerial maps and topography maps and things like that, and they see your barn there. I can't say either way, but that could be the case. But I understand your concerns, and it's unfortunate you were talked to the way you were, but that's totally out of our jurisdiction, and we have nothing we can do about that, and that can't guide this meeting. That can't influence our decision in any way. We just have to look at the facts of what they're going to do and where they're going to be. So I don't mean to sound cold or harsh, but that's just the facts. I don't have anything that I can do about the way they talk to you. So going forward, we're just going to talk about the meeting and where they're going with their road. David, go ahead, Nancy, I'm sorry.
I would certainly request that you do walk it. You see the fast-moving stream, and we haven't even had that much snow this year. But, I mean, that is going to be impacted. And as far as the wildlife, there has been everything in its mother on my property. There's been bears, there's deer, there's coyotes, there's fox, there's turkeys. Everything is roams back and forth on my property, and this is all going to be disrupted. I really think that this is not a good idea to have this access road passed. I mean, it's not a big parcel of land that he purchased, and as I stated, there's a hill from my property going up, and water's going to run downward. And why
Nancy, one thing is they're not allowed to impact your land. They're not allowed to create more water flow onto your land. That's one of the conditions we always put in. You can't add water to an abutter's property. So there's going to have to be basins put in place or retention ponds or something, but they're not allowed by our bylaws to give you more runoff. That's not allowed. So that's not going to happen. We're not going to allow that to happen. So don't worry about that.
Okay, so should I be concerned that after all these years, 38 plus years, that my boundary markers are gone? They're either rotted or fallen off, and I should know where my boundary lines meet. I was told from the cement pillars that the state put in 12 inches from that all the way down to my first lot. So, paying taxes all these years on land that I believed I owned.
Well, you're going to have to get to the bottom of that, either by paying a surveyor or we can probably look into it.
Kyle?
Yes, go ahead.
Please do, because I've had to do all this. I mean...
Excuse me, Nancy. Let Paul speak, please.
Okay. I didn't understand that.
Yeah, when we did our survey out there, we did our research, property research, and we tied into the highway layout, and there was a plan of, your property and this property. He owns 9 acres here, unfortunately, with the wetlands and with the setbacks. you know, this is where something is going to have to be done on the 9 acres. But we did locate your front right corner and in our back left corner, which is also your common corner. So, you know, we had, the second time you saw somebody out there, it was one of my engineers, and he was flagging the line so that Jamison Van Dyke and the logger could see where the actual property line was. But the line that's on this plan goes from pin to pin, and that is the boundary. I don't know why somebody told you that your boundary so many feet from a highway bound, but there's actually a pin in the front and in the back.
It was a former person that owned this land that I bought from Hanks.
Yeah.
He gave me the impression for 38 years that this was my land, you know. I mean, he hand walked me through the whole property before I bought it. And I've been paying taxes thinking I owned that part of the land. And naturally, I don't want anything that doesn't belong to me, but I would like to have time to get my own personal surveyor to, because I want to know where my boundary lines are. I did find a pin in the back, what they call a pin, it's a pipe.
Yeah.
Is that correct, Paul?
Yeah, and there's one up in the front too.
That's a pipe, not a pin?
It's a pipe, yeah. It's an iron pin. I call them all pins, but it's actually a pipe. The one up front is bent, but it's still there, yeah.
All right. So comments from the board, David?
No, I'm saying let it go forward, I guess, and see where it goes.
Yeah. Ken? I'm sorry, Allison?
I just want to say at this point that DEP has not issued a project number for this, so we can't close it out tonight as of right now. And then I also had a question for Paul about, do you need to get a curb cut from the state for this?
Yes, we do.
That's it, thank you.
Is there going to be a turn lane into this, Paul?
No.
No. Okay, Ken?
Yeah, so my only question is, it sounded like Nancy wanted the time to do her own surveying, and I don't know.
We're going to continue this for at least another month because DEP hasn't issued a number yet, so it's going to come to the next meeting in February 11th, so she's got a month anyway.
Yeah, so that's my
And
only.
we can't continue it for 6 months to wait on it, but we'll give her a month at least, you know?
Yeah, so that's my only comment, is that if she's requesting time to do that, she should be able to do that.
Yeah, without a DEP number, we can't do anything tonight, so it's going to have to go to our next meeting, so she'll have a month. So, Melissa?
I'd like to walk it myself as well, but I'd review this in a month.
Okay, so any other comments or concerns from anyone? You can speak out of turn. Okay, so can I have a motion to continue this to February 11th at 6:15 p.m.?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, Melissa?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Okay, Sarah, so February 11th at 6:15 p.m., we're going to open this hearing, or we're going to continue this hearing. And hopefully you've had a surveyor look at your land by then. And Paul will probably be here, and we can move on and discuss any other further concerns we come up with. Okay, Sarah?
I'll reach out to Nancy on this one, but I'll reach out to her and make sure that she understands what the process is.
Nancy, I'm sorry. Oh, jeez.
That's okay.
So many names on the screen.
I know.
It's not usually like this.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Good night.
Have a good night. Okay, so next we have certificate of compliance requests,
Yeah, hold on, I'm having.
566 Lakeview, Camille Nasser.
Yep, so this was one that had come before us. I may have them out of order, but there's no plan for Camille Nasser. It had come before the board probably 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and it was a request over by the lake, obviously. He was just replacing the septic tank and the D-box where they were. Board of Health approved it. The work was all done. It looks good. Erosion controls were in place. It's all finished. And now they'd like to formally close it out.
Did we vote to give you this permission? for this authority,
No.
for septic? Since
I
they
don't think
always,
we
since they
can.
always get passed?
Yeah, I think it unfortunately has to come to the board. I'll
Okay.
look into it, but
It seems like a waste of time when we have to pretty much grant it, because otherwise it's considered taking of a dwelling.
yeah, I don't disagree, but
Okay, so can I have a motion to grant a certificate of compliance for 566 Lakeview?
Yeah, so,
Yep, so move.
Okay, we'll give that to Ken. David, you want a second?
yeah, I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, Melissa?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Okay, next is West Street, West Stoller 2 LLC.
so this is the piece across the street. Trying to get, this side does not have any bouldering concerns, and I haven't heard from any abutters, which doesn't mean they aren't here. Here, the work was all done. Some plantings were put in excess of what was originally requested. But this one, they're just looking for a certificate of compliance, excuse me. Again, I reviewed this one and it's looked good. It's been significantly done for quite a while.
Are there any abutters here for West Solar 2 that would like to take the floor? Okay, can I entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for West Solar 2?
So move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, Melissa?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
David?
Yeah.
Chair votes aye. Okay, the next one's crossed out, Allison.
Yep.
Does that mean we're not gonna hear it?
Yeah, yep, nothing came in on that one, so it'll continue to show up, but
606 School Street is highlighted yellow. What does that mean?
just that it came in after I had initially sent out the packet. For whatever reason, I sent out the packet last week, and this month there were a lot of kind of dribs and drabs and pieces of things that came in.
Do you want to brief us on that one?
So, yeah, I mean, this one too is similar to the last one. It's a new build home. It looks good. It's a septic and everything has been everything is done. It's in compliance with it is in compliance with the plans. At this point, I think this is a couple of years old. They're just looking to close it out, but I saw no issues. It's clean and good.
Okay, so can I have a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 606 School Street?
Yes, so move.
Okay, Ken made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, Melissa?
Yes.
Ken?
Aye.
David?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Okay, and the next one's crossed out, so we're not going to hear that one.
On that one, I just say that on 606 School Street that I'll continue to monitor it into the spring to make sure that, there's growth and such. And if there is, then it's all, it's good. And if there's not for some reason, then I'll reach out to the applicant. He understands that he's still responsible for that.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yep.
So the next one's crossed out. Are we not hearing that one?
Correct. They were hoping to get their plans in time to have something to talk about and look at, and they were not able to. So they will be.
So you want to affirm the enforcement order?
Yes, that is what I put in there in its place. And this is a property and individual with whom we have dealt in the past. Received a call that Philip White was taking down trees. I had been out there a few weeks ago, and he had an emergency septic repair authorized at that point verbally the removal of the trees he needed for that, as well as one dead tree and a 30-foot tall stump. And then today the abutter notified DEP, who reached out to me. They forwarded pictures through that stream, and it appeared that he was cutting down additional items near, there's a perennial stream in addition to the lake on his property. So we issued a cease and desist, and I will, if you guys affirm it, then I will continue to work with DEP to figure out what the next steps are and how we want to handle this. He had another enforcement order for other things a year or so ago.
Okay, so if the board has any comments or questions, go ahead and speak.
Is he gonna be allowed to fix his septic? I would think he would be, but I
Yes,
don't know.
I believe that work was already all done and is completed. And this was
Okay.
scope creep.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Are there any abutters here for this discussion? Okay, can I entertain a motion if you agree with Allison's enforcement order to affirm her enforcement order?
So moved.
Second,
Second,
all in favor, Melissa?
Yes.
Ken?
yes.
David?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Preliminary discussion of possible projects. 16 Island Road, Ryan McCauley, owner.
Yep, so I'm not sure, I thought Ryan was gonna join us, he may be here. This is a property owner, adjacent to the property where we had issued an enforcement order last month. And he wanted to come before the board and have a preliminary conversation about a project or project plans that he has.
Is Ryan here?
Parcel here in yellow, I don't know. Is there any?
Ryan, are you with us?
project?
I think nobody's here for this.
I'm not seeing anyone. If you're here for this, last call.
I notice there's several citizens here tonight. Do we want to entertain any questions or concerns from the citizenry?
Yeah, absolutely. If folks have questions or comments.
If anybody would like to say something, you can unmute yourself and speak freely now. Okay, hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor, Melissa?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Meeting is adjourned at 7:15 p.m.